Hi, welcome to VNN to our next episode of discussion series with Ambassador Praveen Verma, retired. Welcome to VNN,
Thank you,
Praveen.
Bala. It's good to be with you
I know.
again,
Thank
and
you.
also good to see the weather changing a little bit.
It's a bit
And
cold though today,
cool, but then it's comfortable. And when you see the weather trajectory in future, it's warming up.
but you see it's heating up in Ukraine,
Oh yes,
and
oh yes,
the
oh yes.
threat of a nuclear because of that nuclear plant, the largest in Europe. I have a feeling that is a staged thing. I can't say there was shelling, but only the training facility got fire. Maybe it was the Ukrainians who did it. We don't know. Possibility.
I don't know. Actually, they already have Chernobyl, which is if we talk of nuclear plants being used in the war,
Yeah.
in terms of either bombing them or doing anything else to them, they had Chernobyl would have been enough. So this one,
Yeah, so
maybe
that-
I don't know what is the purpose,
and
but
even-
then it's a landmark in the sense that you've taken over a nuclear plant. That's okay.
Yeah, because the Russians wouldn't do anything to destroy that plant because that's very close to the Russian
own-
border
their-
too.
their-
You
their
see,
own
so
border,
they
yes,
won't, they
their
can't, they
own
can't do
border.
that.
But
Just to, I think, hype it, the whole thing is being hyped up.
Yeah, maybe. It's war game.
War
So
games,
it is
yeah,
war
this
game,
game.
yes.
Anyway, now the Quad leaders met the day before virtually, and Joe Biden had called an emergency meeting, and I think apparently Biden was putting a lot of pressure on Modi to align with the U.S. view on this Ukraine war. Modi withstood the sort of, I'll call it an attack, but then.
But that has been the trend right from the beginning, where America has, or entire West has been pressurizing over India to change its stance and to sort of break away from the Russian influence. But India has withstood all that pressures and has abstained from voting from the UN Security Council, General Assembly, the refugee
Four times,
organization.
four abstentions, I think.
Yeah, so it is when India has a very tight rope to walk,
Yeah.
because Russia has been our old ally, and we are breaking new frontiers towards the Western Bloc, and especially the Americans. And Biden is quite correct in trying to apply pressure, because putting India on their side is a great.
But that also could be because once, say, India clashes with Russia or goes against the Russians, then India will have to buy a lot of its weapons from the US. Maybe that's what Biden wants. All new purchases will be American weapons. So
Yeah, those things. I
in the
don't
long
think
term, sort of. That
these
is,
are long-term
yeah.
things, because we have been buying arms from Russia,
All-
and the
recently from the US too.
US, and then in US also threatened to apply the CATS sanctions, which has
Might not.
been
I don't
which
think
might
they will,
not
yeah, for the
happen,
time being, yeah.
because with the ongoing honeymoon between India and America, that seems to be a bit distant. But yes, there will be continuous pressure, and the Quad side is another angle, where even diverting attention of Quad to this war theater. And
Yeah.
our intention is that Quad is
Should remain a basically
ba-
Indo-Pacific
basically
region,
an
yes.
Indo-Pacific thing, and that is aimed against the Chinese.
And I think they want to make it a part of the Euro-Atlantic grouping also. I think that's what maybe Australia and US are interested in that too.
Maybe, but then I don't think India would be interested
in
in
that, yeah.
expansion at the moment. Quad is a specific instrument of concentration towards
And it is not even a military
Indo-Pacific.
alliance anyway. So.
It's Indo-Pacific, and it should remain an Indo-Pacific instrument to contain China.
Let's see, yesterday, or the day before, the Ukrainian president said some 16,000 volunteers have joined the Ukrainian army. That these are mercenaries.
Yeah,
Obviously, they are being paid very well. Who will be paying them?
I don't know.
And who are these fighters?
We've been hearing a lot about Americans indirectly assisting
Private contractors.
private contractors, and that's the ball game, the Western ball game, right from the very beginning. And
They did that in Afghanistan too.
yeah, and because they don't go on, they're meant to die officially, and then mercenaries could be from any nationality, but then Yes, I do think it's a credible information that mercenaries are coming in, and of course indirectly arms etc. are being pushed into Ukraine, and it's being supplied to the civilian population. So the West is backing the Ukrainian thing, and well, that's their game.
I think yesterday on one of the Indian channels there was a Middle Eastern analyst, a political analyst, who said the US is trying to recruit Mujahideen fighters again to go into Ukraine and battle the Russians.
Well,
We don't know whether that could be true.
I presume he is singing his own song, bringing on the forefront the Middle Eastern problem and
yeah, but he kept criticizing the US for doing this, because he said Iraq and Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, these have been bombed. There have been no talk of sanctions.
Yeah,
There
no
are
sanctions.
no pictures of children dying here. In Ukraine, one child is crying, and they show it all across Western television. I mean, this is how Western media dominates the world. That's a problem.
Yeah, the West dominates the world at the moment,
So
Americans are trying to sort of convert it into a unipolar world.
which I think the Russians are maybe thinking that they don't get the respect they deserve. So
but anyway, Russians are number 3 at this stage. In any case, the main adversary of USA is now China.
So I think it would be better if it's a bipolar world, isn't it? So there are not two opposing camps rather, but
two camps competing with each other.
Competing in a cooperative way. That would be an ideal situation. But that doesn't happen in real life.
International relations are a different ballgame altogether. And even though I don't see any future of Russia after this conflict, because even if they are able to do a regime change in Ukraine, the sanctions, I'm sure, will continue for a long time, and there will be a lot of problems for the
will Russia be able to?
This is the good scenario. The bad case scenario is very bleak for the Russians, because then I don't know, Putin has gone on front foot, and now he'll get the bouncer on his head. He's prepared for that. He must have thought.
But now for him, see, there's no going back then.
Now that's the whole problem is that the worst case scenario is his nuclear option.
But I don't think he can exercise that. I mean,
no, but then you see,
destruction of the
once he knows that he has nothing to lose, and if he is not able to do a conclusive, decisive victory, or at least a stalemate in Ukraine, people will be after him, hounding him, war criminal, this and that. Already they have started talking, as they had spoken about Saddam. And so once that stage arises, then Putin will be desperate.
But you see, then
it's the Western ploy that they should not bring Putin to desperation.
Yeah, that is the thing. If he is cornered, then we don't know how he'll react, isn't it?
So and I think that is what the Americans and NATO are at present doing.
They want to push him, no?
No, they don't want to. They don't want to push him, but they don't want to
let him go.
Let him go ahead also, and they are sort of preventing the fall of Kiev. Yeah, if Kiev alone would have fallen by now. But then, if you recall, even India took around 3 weeks' time, I think. 3 weeks.
The Bangladesh thing.
The Bangladesh thing,
20,
where again no war, and we had Mukti Bahini on our side, so there was a guerrilla.
But here also apparently there are in Donbass and those the Russian black rebels are already joined up with the Russian army.
One is not talking of Eastern Ukraine. I am talking of Western Ukraine.
Western Ukraine is difficult. I don't think Russia will go into that area.
It'll take, but Kiev is ultimately the battle is for Kiev. You take any other town, we had Kherson, all these things are taken. Nobody sort of bothers about it.
Mariupol has been almost taken, and I think now they will go to Odessa, and that will destroy the Ukrainian navy.
So this is all war games, and people are trying. Yesterday I said the attacks from all sides by the Russians.
Apparently the Russians elite are now moving their yachts and valuables to the UAE and Maldives. That's one of the reports said.
Yeah, but then they have already been badly affected, and these yachts, etc., are a small change for them. Their whole accounts have been sort of frozen in the West, and with no trade going on. Things are expected to be a bit bad in Russia post-war, as and when the war ends. You don't know when the war will end anyway.
Ukrainian president, he said yesterday, I was just read this out. He says Putin has already lost the war with Ukraine, and it is believed that the Russian president has currently lost his mind, and his condition is not adequate, okay. And that Russians are pointing multiple rocket launching systems onto Russian territory.
Okay.
So
He is a comedian.
that's how that's I know that's about a big joke anyway. So
Well, that's a
how do you think this will end? How many days?
How many days? I don't know. I predicted that it won't start even. Now you want to predict how it will end, and then when after 1 month you'll say it's not ending. What did you say?
The problem is, Praveen, is this the end of diplomacy in Ukraine? There's no chance anymore?
Diplomacy failed, and therefore the war started.
It can't be revived, you mean?
Number two, diplomacy has not failed because in the second round of discussions, they did agree for the
humanitarian corridor.
So there is a movement over there.
Avenues are still open.
So avenues are still open, and once this has happened, the next round of discussions may be moved to a little bit further. So diplomacy is never closed, and nobody can stop us from talking.
No.
And both sides have agreed to talk.
But
that is
they
good.
They talk, and then this stuff going to blows again. Or that continues.
That you see, that continues, but as long as they are talking. And now you see, with the corridors open, some sort of relief is there for the humanitarian work and for the needy and for the injured, and it gives in a ray of hope. When you say that one can see.
Putin says it's going according to the plan, and there's no deviation. The plans or the objectives will be reached: demilitarization of Ukraine, denuclearization of Ukraine, and then they will not sign up with NATO. That's all he says his objectives are.
His objectives are. The point is that these objectives were not accepted by the Western powers, and then he took a drastic step of attacking. If he had kept on negotiating, I'm sure diplomacy would have much more chance to work, and at least
historical reasons also. I mean, Western Ukraine during the time of the Second World War, the Western Ukraine was mainly Nazis. They did side with the German army into attacking Russians in eastern Ukraine and parts of Russia. And even today, I was watching it on television. There was a parade by Evo's battalion, which is a purely neo-Nazi regiment of the Ukrainian army. So what Putin says also, there is some truth in it, that there is a Nazi
element over there. But then that is not the whole truth.
That's not the whole truth.
It's like gamesmanship. You hit at the weakest point. So here he's got one place where the world might have some sort of sympathy for him, but then in this scenario, I think nobody is listening to that.
No, nobody. And I don't think his Russian media is anyway blocked all across the West anyway. So
yeah, within Russia, the story people they hear is quite different. So, and we don't know what's really happening in Russia at the moment inside. Other than some reflection of Western media, which says about protests in Russia.
Protests in St. Petersburg, and thousands of people.
So this is the Western angle. But what is actually happening in India, nobody is reporting. Nobody is reporting. Because of the sanctions, maybe none of the Western media is there. Indian media is also not there, the very active media. They are there, but they are only in Ukraine. They are not in Russia on the streets of Moscow.
All those Sputnik and those other media, they keep coming on to Indian channels.
That's
how I think we listen to the Russian side. But
yeah, the Russian side, but we don't know actually what's happening there, inside Russia. And Indian media at least could have done that.
I mean, the Russian Air Force has not been deployed so far. That's what I heard.
That is the big mystery, yes.
Why is that?
That is some trump card which is
yes, Sukhoi, other big
and they outsmart the Ukrainian Air Force anyway.
S-400 system has not been deployed, nothing. So we don't know what's happening. Maybe Putin is escalating it gradually, sort of he's calibrating his moves.
Apart from the Air Force, what is this convoy? I don't understand this convoy. Do you understand?
Yeah,
what is this convoy doing? Why do you have these people, these guys walking, and this is like Purana Zamana army going in a campaign. In the open.
64 kilometers of convoy, I mean, that's ship, truck after truck after, they can be attacked easily.
I don't know. Obviously, they can be attacked by air only, otherwise it's a huge space and they are superior in their strength. But what's the purpose? I don't understand. And why doing in a line when you can, if you have to circle the city?
Or maybe it could be a fake image.
No, it's a satellite image, so it's not a fake image.
Maybe those are just paper trucks.
Cardboard.
Cardboard.
You are going into a Hollywood movie.
No, but the Chinese could do it thousands of years ago. They had this clay statues and clay soldiers. Maybe Russia is doing this paper trucks.
Technology has changed. Now they can see you as you heard during the patriotic war game, that they can read the newspaper from satellites.
Made of cartons, large big cartons, and that's true. Okay, coming back to India now. Elections are almost at an end, and Uttar Pradesh, I think Modi was having a big grand show
and all that.
Varanasi and Banaras, So,
but let's see. The first stage would be the exit polls coming out immediately after the end of the election.
I think, when is it? Tomorrow?
I think so. 6th, I think. 6th.
Yeah, 6th. That's tomorrow, Sunday. Yes.
So everybody is waiting for that. Once that comes in, then there will be a discussion. Then. Sometimes for you and me also, we'll switch from Ukraine to the Indian politics.
Yeah, for the time being, that was.
And then when the results come out, then we'll start thinking where this one went wrong and that went wrong.
Yeah, another thing was because of the Ukrainian situation, the hijab controversy died down.
It died down. Nobody was watching Indian election scenario other than people who are affected.
And the hijab thing just quietly died down now because of the elections are over also.
Maybe that phase of election is over.
Yeah,
so once that phase of election is over, finished, the whole purpose of that
Western Uttar Pradesh elections.
Then,
every election is happening.
Owaisi got his votes, that's fine. Nothing after that.
Southeast Asian countries have not said anything about the Ukraine war. No statements, nothing.
No statements, nothing. And then the voting pattern in UNGA also did not reflect much.
Of course, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Maldives, and they voted abstained. They abstained,
Bangladesh abstained.
Yeah, Bangladesh abstained. Bhutan voted for, which is very strange because of course they are really aligned with India. So maybe India must have said, do it.
And Modi told Biden, see, I got you one vote.
Got you one vote. Anyway, so thank you, Praveen.
Thank you very much.
Nice meeting you, and hope to see you watch us again on the next episode of our discussion series with Ambassador Praveen Verma. This is VNN signing off for this week. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.